Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Saturday, February the 3rd. Welcome to our video commentary. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about. I've got a couple of articles that I want to share with you, but let's begin with this memo that continues to be the big story here in the United States. The memo has basically been out for 24 hours, and the basic point of the memo that politicized information was used to obtain a warrant against, I guess, Carter Page, who was connected somewhat to the Trump campaign. That basic point has not been denied or challenged. The Democrats have criticized the memo. They've said it's political. They've said it's a risk to national security. It's not. But anyway, no one has challenged. No one has said no. That politicized information was not used, and that's really is the essence of this. So. I saw last night that the Democrats were issuing a letter or something challenging President Trump not to fire Mueller or not to fire anybody because of this memo. If that's all they got, what that tells me is they don't have much of anything. So my message to the Democrats or to any of the Trump critics is, look, I'm not here to cover up anything. If you've got information, let's put it all out. Let's put everything on the table and let's go from there. My sense, as I mentioned in my post or I mentioned in a tweet, I believe that this is headed for an independent counsel. I don't see any other way of avoiding that. This is headed to an independent counsel, and that's not where the Democrats want to go, by the way. And I just hope they're smart enough to realize that going to an independent counsel with people like Hillary and Bill Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and uranium and the money that was or the allegations that they were taking money when she was Secretary of State and he was running all over the world asking people for money, that will be investigated by an independent counsel. So I think the Democrats may want to hold back a little bit and not go to an independent counsel because, as I said, that's not going to be friendly territory to Bill and Hillary Clinton because they have a closet full of stuff that an independent counsel will look into. Another post that I have on Saturday morning over at the American Thinker is the post about the apparent suicide of Fidel Castro's son. When Fidel Castro, back in 1948, Fidel Castro and a young woman by the name of Mirta Diaz-Balart were married, and a year later they had this son, Fidel. Fidel Castro would never legally remarried or never remarried. As far as I'm concerned, or he may have been, but this is the only son, I believe, that he has. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The couple divorced, the original couple divorced, Mirta and Fidel divorced in the 1950s. She remarried and lived most of her life in Spain. Young Fidel stayed in Cuba with his father, and then he went on to become a scientist in the USSR, and that's apparently the field that he was involved in as a scientist. Now, apparently he was suffering from depression, and that's why he killed himself, and that happens. I'm not here to challenge that nor to talk about suicide because that's obviously not my field of specialty. The only thing I'm saying is that the Cuban government has a state-run media, and it's always fair to be skeptical of anything that they say or any explanation that they give, and that's all I'm saying. Cuba does not have a free media. It does not have the type of media where you can have independent reporters look into a situation and look at the facts of a case. That's simply not the situation in Cuba. So let's assume that he died. I mean, as far as I can tell, let's assume that he died from a suicide. I'm not going to challenge that. But again, I've always been very skeptical of the Cuban media because they have a very sorry track record of telling the truth. I have another post that hopefully will be out Sunday morning regarding abortion and the Democrats, and this is based on an article that David Brooks just wrote at the New York Times. And the article is basically recommending to the Democrats that they need to moderate their position on abortion. That pretty much the Democrats have pretty much accepted the idea that abortion should be legal at any point in the pregnancy, meaning after 20 weeks or whatever. And those late-term abortions are the ones who've become very controversial politically for the party because it puts the Democrat Party really outside the mainstream, not just here in the United States, but all around the world, where abortion is legal, but there are limits on abortion. And what David Brooks is basically saying is the Democrats need to moderate that position because they're losing a significant portion of the country because of that position. So it's a very interesting thought. I don't know if they're going to do it because I don't know that if there's a Democrat who has the guts to stand up to Planned Parenthood. Remember, they get a lot of money from Hollywood, from Planned Parenthood, and from many liberal activists who are really invested in abortion. So I don't think that there's anybody in the party probably who has the guts to challenge it or to run for president. But I think David Brooks is right. The Democrats are losing a part of the country by holding on to such a radical message of abortion. I just think it's a very bad idea. Thank you for watching. We have all of these over at YouTube, and we also have them over at Twitter, and we have them over at my blog. And again, my message to the Democrats, if you've got information, put it out. I don't care. I want the facts out, wherever they come from. So put out the facts. But until you do, I have to go with the information in that memo, and that is that FISA was used for political purposes. Bye-bye, everybody. Talk to you later.